Let's go. Yo, it's been a good minute. Happy New Year. The Justin Anime Podcast is back.
Yes.
We are back. It's been a good minute. It's been a year.
Has it been that long?
Bro, it's been a year. We have not talked about Kengan in a year.
Yeah. I had a child in the time since we did the last.
I'm about to have another young.
Not I had a child. My wife did.
Oh yeah, of course. But then I'm about to have another young Padawan jump down the. Did it say I went live? Yes, I did. Cool. We are live. Yeah, it's been a minute, Ev, man. It's good to see you, brother. It's good to hear from you, my boy. How's life been, man? How's life been, my brother?
It's been pretty good. I've just been doing the same stuff I've always been doing. That's about it.
Hey man, you trying to take over the world, man. That's all we've been wanting you trying to do. We trying to take over the world. That's all we trying to do. We trying to take over. Hey man, we got a lot of Kengan to talk about, y'all. We got so much Kengan to talk about today. Like I've been waiting to talk about Kengan. My boy, Drake, my boy. But yeah, we got someone, and then sometime this month too, we're gonna be starting up. We're gonna be going on the Grand Line, y'all. We're gonna start out One Piece.
I'm not ready for that.
The One Piece manga. We'll start out One Piece, and I am hyped for the One Piece journey. I've already caught up, but it's gonna be another.
So far.
Yo, you get to start over. We're gonna start it from the beginning. Ed made a good comment. Wano's over. Y'all been reading One Piece. Wano is over with. So it's a good time to start. So we're going to be starting One Piece content here. And then eventually I wanted to do reactions for the new Bleach for the 1,000-Year Blood War because that's been fire.
Okay.
The season finale already ended and that's been lit. 1,000-Year Blood War was lit. But we will definitely we'll have some to be more consistent with I can't even talk. With the content, been behind. We got a lot of Kengan to talk about today and I'm hyped for it. Like, share, subscribe, comment to the Justin Anime Podcast page. I will post it in here so y'all know how to spell it and whatnot. I'll throw it in down yonder. And yeah.
It's been a while. So where did we leave off? At the end of Mosky, right? Mosky's match?
Yes.
Jirota?
No.
Yes.
It was? Yes, it was. You're right.
Yes.
You're right. Yes, you're right.
So we also got to see that basically he just snapped at the end, right?
Hey man.
Well, after the match, he kind of let Meguro, the Meguro version of himself, out, and he killed the leader of Toyo Electric Power, right? Spun his.
Oh no, that's not.
Whoa!
It.
Whoa there, cowboy! Whoa there!
That's after the entire tournament.
Hear nothing. I was like,
Spoiler.
I
don't know if it was. I thought it was
The
no.
The reveal was that he had been going under Huiseng to basically become a perfect version of Meguro without all of the homicidal tendencies.
He's been listening to a recording in his ear the whole time.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, spoiler alert.
Tim, you didn't do nothing, man.
Listen, I thought that was literally directly after the match.
I know. You know what? I can't wait to talk about that part, how that transpired. But we will get there.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay, buddy. It's been a minute. It's been a good minute, my boy.
So the next match, basically, really, we're gonna kind of yada over this next match.
Can I ask something? Sorry, do we like Okubo? Like, do we get harp on him because he lost against Oh Boy? And he couldn't help it. Okubo can throw hands because a lot of the fights so far. First of all, I want to say this arc has been dope. I love my tournament arcs. I like Purgatory arc better than the last arc because we get to see new characters. Mm-hmm. We get to see a lot more development between the characters. A lot more story is happening in the background as the Purgatory versus Kengan tournament has been progressing.
Well, and we've also seen a lot of fighters that use techniques and styles that clash really heavy with the characters we know. If they don't clash, they are what's the word? They're really compatible.
Yeah.
So Mosky and Jirota, both judo.
Compatible.
Julius and Toa,
basically powerhouses.
Yeah,
just big powerhouses.
Brawler fighters, and then you have
Carlos was different.
Carlos was built there compared to most of the others because he's not dedicated to one single style. He's just really, really good in one style.
And he needed backup. So hey, it was dope. He learned capoeira.
Yeah.
Out of all the things you learn as a boxer, he learned that's very versatile.
Yeah, he's a very versatile fighter, and I mean to have him basically outwit Kowlong and be able to pull out the W was really impressive. But what's really been interesting to me about this Omega arc is all of the behind the scenes stuff that's going on that we really got little tastes of during Ashura we're starting to get massive information on.
It's so much background stuff that's happening within the tournament. A lot of scheming going on. Everybody got their own motives in the Kengan and tournament. Toyo Electric Power. I mean, now he's won his match, so we're gonna see how that develops. Well, but now we get to Okubo's fight.
See, and the thing is, I like Okubo.
I do. It's just he had to draw straws, and he had the shortest straw when it came to fighting one of the strongest fighters in the Kengan ring.
You talk about Kanoh?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
he just. And he can throw hands. It's just
he was just out.
That's Kanoh.
And then he's going up against Tarashi, Tarashi is a character that has largely been mysterious to us up to this point in time.
With the mask, the mask fighter is always the mysterious ones. Now you want to learn about him and what's he gonna do?
Yeah, I will say like his backstory for me, because Okubo's fight with Tarashi is mainly just interjected with backstory about Tarashi because we know what we need to know about Okubo.
Yeah.
And the thing with Tarashi is I was a little underwhelmed. Like I really thought that there was going to be something a little. I thought Tarashi was going to be a little bit more interesting of a character than he ended up being. But let's kind of dive into that. So they get up to the ring, and if I'm not mistaken, the first thing that Tarashi says to Okubo is like, it's not verbatim. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he kind of says like, "You're just a joker. Like you don't take anything seriously, do you?"
Yeah, he was talking. Okubo showboating. It's Okubo. Yeah, he did it with Kano's fight.
Well, and he's
I believe we might have skipped a fight.
Did we?
Yes. The next fight after Meguro and Giroda's fight is Nicholas and Akuya.
Oh shit, we did.
I thought we talked about, and I looked at the last podcast. Oh.
Okay, so I mean, we can start there.
Heck, pretty much that fight. Now, so our prophet over here, Ev. I'm not good at prophesizing stuff. Maybe some stuff, but
Ev. This guy. The thing is, what a lot of people who will see this don't understand is that every single week when the chapter comes out, right before we read it, Everett will usually have something to say about like this is what's going to happen, and this dude is batting 1,000. Like he has never been wrong,
and
it is really impressive.
This next fight, he called it because there was a lot of when we saw the lineup, you could tell who was fighting who by like maybe 3 characters, 2. Alan Wu and Ryan. That was obvious.
That was a dead giveaway.
The 2 biggest characters are going to fight each other.
Oh yeah,
like that was obvious. Nicholas, when we first met him, the bloodlust was real.
Oh yeah, and the way they described him, I mean, you're like basically we're talking about French Akuya.
Yeah,
his nickname is the Grim Reaper of Paris.
Yeah, so I mean that's it was just such a dead giveaway that these 2 were going to be matched up.
Yeah.
And there's the line that Nicholas said in his introduction, where he was like, the Kengan side has it really good because they can actually kill their opponents.
Yeah. So we can, you kind of are getting little bits and pieces with him about how kind of unhinged he really is.
Oh yeah, he wilding. Yeah, he's wilding for sure.
I mean, he's definitely more interested in killing people than he is fighting them.
Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe that I get from him.
Well, the backstory. So we'll go over the backstory a little bit. The brother, he has a brother, and he's talking to this other competitor, and they just do this little thing. And he was like, somebody mentioned Nicholas, and that man's whole facial expression changed and said, I should have killed Nicholas.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh God.
It was, Mr. Nogi's assistant.
Yeah, she was mentioning.
It wasn't Kaide, it was the other one. I can't remember.
The one that be on the spy stuff. I forgot her name, but
I almost said Hinata, but I think that's Naruto.
That's Naruto.
Whoops.
But yeah, they mentioned his backstory and the brother's face. It was just a cool, casual conversation. And the dude mentioned Nicholas, and that man's whole facial expression.
Very serious.
He gets real sick. He's like, I should have killed Nicholas. And then they go, like, oh.
So they, that fight starts out. Refresh me. Doesn't he try to shake Akuya's hand, and when Akuya refuses, he
slaps him.
He slaps him. Yeah.
Backhands the mess out of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it at speed that Akuya couldn't even react to, and it surprised Ohma.
Yeah, which, if going back to the original series to Ashura, it is well documented that Akuya's reaction time is possibly the best in the series. And
Nicholas kind of questioned that.
Yeah.
For a hot second when he slapped him, and he couldn't react quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering what his fighting style would be. I think everybody from Purgatory, we were wondering about what they was gonna do. Yeah. That was the most exciting part about this tournament, like what they're gonna do.
Yeah, what kind of fighting style they use.
And his was like sword fighting, kind of, sort of, right, Ev? Was it like sword fighting?
Savate. It's
okay.
It's like a really interesting combination of like French kickboxing and his fencing.
That's what it was. Fencing.
Interesting amalgamation of that.
Yeah.
Actually, my first introduction to Savate, which was which is the style that Nicholas uses, was actually from a video game on Super Nintendo called World Heroes. Do you remember that game?
Yes, I do.
Captain Kidd, the pirate, used that same fighting style.
I couldn't tell what they used in that game. They was throwing fireballs, sharks, waves of water.
Yeah, but according to the bio, that's the fighting style he uses. So that's how I became aware of it when I was like 10.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But they kind of does it explain pretty fast where the slap actually causes Akuya to lose his eyesight in one of his eyes, or his vision gets blurred.
Yes, Nicholas has.
So
go ahead.
When he goes to slap him, Akuya blocks it with his left arm, and then he completely loses sensation in his left arm, and he's like, "Did my arm vanish?"
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
it's like it paralyzed him at the same time too. So
yeah, so I was actually prepared for Tarashi in them. So I'm gonna actually have to pull up the manga right now so that I can remember this fight. It's been so friggin' long.
Hey man, it's just the ending part of the fight that was the best part.
Yeah, so let's kind of get to that. Let's kind of.
And then there's the very big reveal that actually happens in this this chapter specifically
regarding Nicholas.
That was wild. The reveal for that was wild.
With Nicholas, the company that he was a part of in the military was murdering civilians.
Yeah.
And so he has a very big reputation of being a serial killer because of that.
Yeah.
And his brother is like, there's just something not right about him. And then Rin is looking at the picture of Guillaume and Nicholas, and she's like, what does this mean? And then you find out the reaction time between the two. Akuya's reaction time is 0.004 seconds faster than Nicholas.
Oh yeah, so we're talking like fractions of a second faster.
Yeah,
which is really impressive.
It's a big difference in those few seconds in that match that could decide a match.
Oh yeah, what's really kind of interesting about this fight too is that throughout the course of it, both of them are going for the kill.
Oh yeah, you got two psychos
Yeah,
trying
for
to fight
sure.
each other.
I mean, Akuya is always out to kill, and we knew that about him. But you know, Nicholas, it's interesting to see Akuya go up against somebody with the same philosophy that he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That justice.
Akuya does really take heavy damage, mainly because of the stinger. I can't remember what he calls that technique. Nicholas, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what the technique was called too, but it looked like a scorpion tail, something like a sort of some type of bug that can poison you.
And basically that's what it is. It's poisoning, and he loses sensation in his arm. I think he gets one to the chest, and one of his lungs feels like it's disappeared.
Yeah.
And then he actually gets one in the eye, and it actually messes with his depth perception.
Yeah. So I mean, Akuya sustains heavier damage than I think we've ever seen him take.
Yeah.
In this fight alone. Which is interesting because I can't decide if it's because Akuya has lost a step or if it's because he's actually up against someone who is on his level. Because let's be real, in Ashura, Cosmo was not on his level. He just outsmarted him.
He barely won that fight. If it weren't for it, it was yeah.
I mean, if Cosmo wouldn't have gotten lucky, he would have been killed by Akuya in Ashura.
Yeah, he was getting worked.
But with Nicholas, he is up against another ultra predator, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, the dude was on some other stuff.
I think it's a good mixture of both, because we saw earlier in Omega that Akuya was losing it a bit more. And he was becoming more unhinged because he got suspended for a while because he injured the Olympiad. Yeah, the Olympiad when they fought, to the point where he couldn't even compete anymore. And the reason why Akuya was even on the team was because
Gozero recommended him the one he beat up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the thing is, like, in a real life situation, if you have a person like Akuya, I mean, if you can keep him controlled, he's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, I would have Aki as long as you keep him.
There's not many fighters that we've met in Kengan that if you put Akuya up against him that he can't beat. There's not a lot of them, in my opinion.
Well, mine is like probably 3 I can count on.
There are 3 that come to mind immediately, but the vast majority of fighters, Akuya could probably take the win.
Now, notice though too, he doesn't have old chick in his ear.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't have
he hasn't had that for some time.
Since he hasn't had. So she was giving him orders. Remember that she was one keeping him calm, keeping him at bay with the killer tendencies. Now he off the chain now, so he's still good. He's just you gotta.
So if I remember right, like I said, both fighters are sustaining heavy damage, and if I'm not mistaken, they stopped the fight. They attempt to stop.
Nah. One person.
The big reveal was that the Nicholas in the picture that Rin saw and the one that's in the ring are 2 different people.
Jean-Luc.
Yeah, Jean-Luc. He was part of the company, and he killed Nicholas LeBanner.
He was
in self-defense, he was the second in command, and Nicholas went off the deep end, and he basically killed him in self-defense, but because of that, he lost his mind, and he basically just believed that he was Nicholas LeBanner at that point.
Yo, that's some mind fuck shit. Yeah. That's crazy. Like, he took on his personality from a whole different person. That dude was off the chain. Like that was wild that he took on his personality and just became him. Thought he was him this whole time.
Yeah. But that is the major reveal. But when they go to stop the fight,
Hey man, your boy, the hype.
I can't remember why they decided to stop.
No, somebody
So
jumped
what
in
happens? What happens is their fight gets more and more brutal to the point where it seems like they're gonna kill each other, and Akia goes and takes a very big bite out of Nicholas.
That's right.
And then everybody's like, we need to stop this fight now. And then you see Lalong walks into the ring and just separates both of them and is like, this fight is over.
Yo, that was the ending panel for the chapter though.
Only needed one hand to do it.
But the crazy part,
both of them try to fight Lalong afterwards, and he deals with both of them in one hit each.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part, they're on adrenaline, and they're like, oh, we can't. They was gonna still fight, but they're on adrenaline fighting, and it's the fact that he jumps in to fight him. And Carlos was like, we gotta jump in there, and he was like, yeah, no, we gotta stop him. He's like, nah, bro, I wasn't talking about them two. I'm talking about
Lalong. We need to stop Lalong.
Yo, this dude is.
If I remember right, he just walks in and just does one of these with his hand.
Yeah.
And
splits them apart
and knocks them backward, like quite a distance for using one of his hands each.
Hey man, Nicholas got the brunt of it because it was Rojito and Carlos. They jumped in and subdued Akia. He punched. I let long landed the one punch, and then after that, Rojito held him, and then they knocked him out. But then Nicholas wanted to still go at it, and he got the brunt of the ass whooping.
Yeah, and then Olma pops into the ring too, and he's like, I'm here to stop you if you go too far. And then after that's dealt with, everybody's Olma thanks Carlos. He's like, thanks for stopping him. He's like, oh, it's no big deal. He's like, I feel bad for y'all because y'all have to fight Lalong.
Bruh, they've been hyping him up since Yumi Gahama was talking shit to him, and he gave him that look.
Oh yeah.
At the beginning of the tournament.
I'm gonna, it's a mild spoiler, but he doesn't disappoint.
Hey man, that's the Terminator.
They've been gassing him up this.
Bro,
it was worth it.
Any point he jumps in the ring, I ain't got nothing to bad, but and they use. I know you notice everybody's using jobber so much. They was like, this person's a jobber. This person's a jobber.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna lie, Alan Wu was on.
Alan Wu was a jobber.
I wouldn't even call Alan Wu a jobber because he would have been able to do well against. There are only 3 people that I don't think he could have beaten. I don't think he could have beaten Ryan, which he didn't, Olma, or Akia. Everybody else he probably could have beaten.
Dang, you think he could have slapped Olma in a kanoh?
No, I'm saying those are the other 2 people he would have lost against.
Oh, because everybody
else he would have beaten.
Dang, even Wakatsuki? Ooh.
Yeah, because Ryan, early Ashura Ryan was stated to be a match for Wakatsuki.
Oh, you're right. He's right. Shit.
Dang, that's crazy.
He would have had a hell of a time beating Wakatsuki just because he can tank damage, but I think he might be right.
Dang, it's just Edward Wu threw him to the wolves quick. He threw him to the wolves just mad.
Yeah, he saw that and he was like, all right, we're leaving.
And nobody batted an eye that Ryan ripped the dude in half, and everybody was just like, all right, next match.
Yeah, it was so funny because I remember Ryan was like, oh, I killed my opponent, I've been disqualified, and then he just ran after Edward.
Ooh, and I can't wait. Ooh, I can't.
We're gonna get there.
Ooh.
But with Nicholas and Akuya taken care of, both of them are hospitalized, I'm fairly certain. Definitely Nicholas.
Well, Nicholas is. I think Aki is not.
Now then it leads us back to Tarashi and Okubo. Which, like I said,
the next fight is Nitoku and Lu Dongcheng.
But I think we did talk about that's the last fight that I think that's the last fight we ended up. I went back to the chapters to see which each fight was. So I hope we didn't skim over too much. I feel bad.
Yeah, we did talk about that one at some point. I'm certain.
I was making sure because I was like, I didn't want to go us backtracking too much. So that's the fault, y'all.
Oh,
Sorry, we're not on the
I
right
think I
chapter.
remember that. Yeah, I think I remember us talking about Mutoku Ludongchain. Now that
That's
I
Tim's favorite
say
character.
something about it.
Tim's favorite character, Lou Dutch. Tim's favorite character.
Okay. Anyway.
So we get to Okubo, and I'm not gonna lie, I did want Okubo to get because we ain't had a tournament since Kengan, and he had the worst of the luck to fight Kanoh, so I wanted him to get a W under his belt.
Mm-hmm. And we discover that throughout the course of the fight, because Tarashi and Okubo, when the match starts, Okubo goes right at him.
Yo, he was going in.
Oh yeah. But it kind of seemed like Okubo's attacks weren't landing or were not causing any damage.
Yeah.
But he was like molly-whopping this dude.
Oh yeah, he was on Tarashi's bumper, and he would get weary like when he got close to him. And his fighting style was it's interesting. Tarashi's fighting style is real interesting.
Because if I remember right, he's like holding one of his hands back.
Yeah. And like I think it was he was holding up his left hand and using his right and just putting his hand up to like kind of ward Okubo off.
Yeah, and I think it was like a psychological.
So yeah, what happened was Okubo would be trying to swing on him, and then he reaches his hands back and he notices his hands are like cut up. And then you find out that that Tarashi is like shivering, and like they call it shivering, and his body is vibrating at such a high frequency that he's basically like a little bit of a chainsaw.
Slightly, yeah, kind of like some barber clippers.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah. And I think it's around that time that when they reveal what is causing Okubo to sustain that damage, that's when we're getting into who Tarashi actually is.
Yo, this man's a whole assassin out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I think a lot of people suspected. I think they actually mention it.
Yeah.
At one point early on, they mentioned that they think Tarashi might be an assassin who's kind of hiding out in the underground, basically.
But it's dope to see so he had a target, and the messed up part is the target he had to go kill was Nicholas.
Yeah. Did they ever explain who hired him for that job?
Nope. It was just some random dude.
What?
Oh, Idemitsu. Oh,
yeah.
Purgatory's
hired him.
I actually forgot about that part.
I thought when he asked the dude when they went to the next chapter, Tarashi was talking to the dude and was like, "You got a job." Mm-hmm. And I didn't know I didn't know he said Idemitsu, or if they mentioned it a little bit further back.
I completely forgot about that.
Dang.
But they kind of also say that Tarashi Hanafusa actually performed brain surgery on him, and it gave him the Emperor's eye.
Kind of like Koga's.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Koga replication of he can see stuff before he can see attacks before they can.
Yeah, pre-initiative.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Little version of that, but it messes with his eyes. That's what he kept. It's like tunnel vision for him, so it kind of messes up his eyes.
That's why he wears the mask.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he can focus in one spot.
Yeah, he wears the mask to block out all the unnecessary stimuli.
Yep. That's what it was.
Very like kind of like Daredevil in a way from Marvel Comics.
I was gonna say it's kind of like Kakashi with his Sharingan, because that's why he keeps the eye covered, because otherwise it would just be constantly going.
Yeah, Daredevil's completely blind, so his is a little different. He has no eyes. This man actually has eyes and has the. I like how we got to reveal that his when he got the mask broke. He was like, I gotta change my face again. I like how Hanafusa was like, he used to be one of my patients, and they was like, what is he talking
about? Yeah, that's a pretty interesting part of the fight, is because Okubo lands one square.
Yo, he clocked him.
It shatters his mask, and Tarashi. It turns out that the way he's drawn, he's a pretty handsome fella, and he's like, well, now I gotta change my face again, and it kind of confirms everything that we believed about Tarashi up to this point, that yes, he is kind of hiding out.
Yep.
And he's, very, what's the word? He's trying to remain as like
he's trying to play low key because he was a low when he got into Purgatory. He's in the low ranks, and then he fought his way up to get to the B. To get to he was in B. He was a B class Purgatory lister. B lister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a B
yeah,
lister.
he's a B lister.
Yep, and he fought.
And he's admittedly the strongest, like the weakest person on the team.
Yeah, we kind of
says that out loud.
I think he said that a while back.
Yeah, he said it sometime ago. Yes, he does. He does say that I'm the least effective member of this team, and even so, he's still wildly dangerous.
Oh yeah, he's an assassin. So he's because you notice
But
he's
the thing is, because he's an assassin, that's why he struggles. Because with Purgatory rules, you can't kill your opponent. So immediately what he can do is significantly less effective.
Yeah, and don't they mention something like that same thing with Ryuki? Where he, there's a big difference between an assassination and a fight. And so assassins will struggle.
Yeah, because of his fighting style, because the Gal style it's a coward style because it's just surprise attacks.
Yeah.
Ray was kind of like that. You see how Ray was ending matches in Ashura, but then Saw Payne was his worst match. He still won, but his was like get in and get out. And you had to deal. The longer you deal with Saw Payne, the more in trouble you're gonna be fighting.
Yeah. And I think that's something that they openly state is like assassins they're not
fit for long
they're
fights.
Not fit for long fights.
No,
they have to end it as quickly as possible.
Yes,
and because there are rules placed on them, their fighting style is severely weakened
and restricted of what they can really do. Because if it was kills, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Nicholas probably would have ended Akuya probably, but it's
50-50.
It was 50-50.
I think if Long wouldn't have stepped in, I think it would have been a double murder, basically.
Who was wanting him to die? One of y'all wanted him to die.
It was Everett.
He would have Akuya to die so bad.
Everett has been predicting Akuya's death since the end of Ashura.
Oh my god!
And honestly, I see.
Hey man, dude, he's kind of a lost cause. Like,
he is.
He's a lost cause.
He's
a lost cause.
I think that's exactly it.
He's a lost cause.
And I think that is why his arc is driving towards it only ending one way.
Him getting killed or somebody double KOing and killing, but depending on the person.
Yeah.
But the rest of this fight, well, we're just gonna say Okubo ends up winning it.
I can't remember how.
He put him in a chokehold.
Oh, he choked him
out.
Choked him out.
I wanted to say that was right, but I couldn't remember for sure.
I like toward the end of it, Tarashi, he wanted to lose, but he didn't want to lose because he's not a competitor. But he still wanted, like, I'm not going to sit here and let you beat me. Like, he was going to actually try, but he didn't want to try. Like, I like that. He kind of was like,
and I neglected to mention something. During this fight, you see Muteba start to do the thing that Idemitsu requested of him earlier in the tournament.
Because we get to the next part. That's the next fight. Yes!
Because isn't Muteba is actually after a specific person, right?
And he's popping up the next fight. At the other part Everett liked too. The other panel, which I had to go back and read it. And I saw it. I was like, oh, this part was lit. That's why I was like, this part was cool. Okubo got the win. So now, and then I like at the end of it, when he loses, he gets up. He was like, I broke your mask. So he tries to give Tarashi the nose, with the disguise, with the nose and the glasses.
Yeah, the glasses.
Yeah. And he said, oh, hell no. He's like, nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah. But then we get into what is our next fight, which...
We got 2 more fights, y'all. We got 2 more fights until
which is Fei Wanfan versus Wakatsuki Takeshi.
Yeah, the Wild Tiger gets to jump in, but boy, a lot of things popped off in this fight, inside the ring and outside the ring. A lot of stuff happened. Who want to start this off? Because I was hyped for this chapter.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know which part I want to do, so
I know which one you want to do.
Yeah.
So let's take it from the top of this.
Yes.
So Faye and Wakatsuki, they start the match. And if I remember correctly, Faye actually lands a really solid blow on Wakatsuki almost immediately. Like to the point where Wakatsuki is this massive, massive guy.
That's the muscle.
He's got the Superman syndrome.
That's muscle on top of muscle.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said before, the guy's a tank. He can tank damage. But one fight or one hit from Faye really, really hurts.
Yeah.
And they also, if I'm not mistaken, don't they mention how Faye's fighting style is a terrible match for Wakatsuki's full contact karate?
Yes, because he does Tai Chi.
Yeah.
He basically
Like the pressure point.
He does Tai Chi, and then the hit that he landed on Wakatsuki was because he switched to kickboxing.
Yeah. He's switching styles. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going through different styles as he fights.
Yeah. So in the middle of this fight, because really this fight is another one where the upper hand keeps kind of changing around. Neither fighter really keeps the upper hand of the fight for long.
Yeah.
Wakatsuki will go on the offensive and land some really solid blows to where you think, okay, this is it. And then Faye will turn the tables with one good attack and he'll do the same. And then what's going on behind the scenes of this?
Okay.
Somebody is in a security room that is now covered in blood.
And the person, you want to take, is that the part you're talking about, Ev, or the other part?
No, let's not reveal who they are yet. It's just that somebody says, let's begin the final act.
So we get to finally an old adversary of Kanoh and Ohma. Somebody, I've had a feeling he had to be alive because we've been talking about this man for a while now. And he takes everybody in the security room. Even Mitsu thought they had it totally locked down on guard patrol, and that was not the case. Tiger Nico, the real Nico Tokita shows up at Purgatory, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, now this is the part that I'll take over.
Go ahead.
And as the fight progresses, something appears on the monitor, and then it's Tiger Nico, and he's watching the Faye and Wakatsuki fight, and he's like, wrap it up, that's enough playing around. And then Faye gets into a really goofy Karate Kid stance. And he's like, basically, let me tell you, this stance is completely useless. And then Wakatsuki rushes at him to attack him, and Faye grabs his arm and flips him with Weeping Willow. And then everybody's like, that's Ohma's technique. And then Faye reveals himself as the Tiger's vessel.
The TV! Or is he the TV? The Tiger's vessel is finally revealed. Something we've been waiting for the number one question of Kengan is we've been seeing him through the cloak when we saw him in Ashura, and we didn't know who he was. And now it was weird. Did you call him being the TV a while ago, Ev, or was it a spec? Because we said a few people. We said Lalong was the TV for kind of.
I think I said it was Faye, and then somebody brought up a good point where they decided to reveal information about the worm to Purgatory. Faye gave more information than Purgatory should have known, which kind of gave away that he was the Tiger's vessel at that point.
I didn't even catch that. That's good.
Me neither, because they were noticing that like all these worm members are popping up. Nidon, Lutien, and they were just coming out in the woodwork.
Well, and that's the thing too, is if I remember that, like when they had the confrontation between the two teams in the middle of the ring, the only person who didn't seem surprised or even mildly upset by it was Faye.
Yeah.
Which I mean, if you go back and look at it, you're like, oh, but the way he's drawn, he seems almost bored.
Yeah.
He seems almost bored during the entire interaction because he already knows. You know what I mean? So when he reveals himself as the Tiger's vessel,
the whole fight changes.
The whole fight changes. Because doesn't he change? Doesn't he use?
He uses another Nico. Oh, after he got revealed, the panel was dope.
Yeah, he starts using Nico techniques that Oma doesn't even know.
Like he put him in some type of clutch hold, like Wakitsuki tried. I like how the panel was dope. That when the reveal and he just looks down at Wakitsuki and the whole panel goes dark when he says it, and then Wakitsuki tries to flip him and FaZe is talking shit like, oh, he was like, oh, I can't get out of this, and then he like camel clutches him, kind of sort of like puts him in this hole.
And more things moving in the background. Shaw G is there with Edward, and he's throwing a fit. He's like, "What are you doing, Nico?" And then Edward's like, "Finally, since he revealed himself, I don't have to protect Shaw G anymore." And then Ryan appears behind Edward. He's like, "I found you." And then Edward's like, "All right, I guess I'll kill you first before I go."
Yo, that panel was dope. Like him showing up behind him, just perving.
Yeah.
Yo, that panel was dope.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan definitely like becomes the Joker in that moment where he just kind of comes up from behind him. He's like, "I found you."
Oh, but another thing, when Tiger Nico shows up again, Muteba, we found out what the job was. Muteba confronts the Tiger Nico, and I'm not gonna lie,
it doesn't go well.
Hey man, he tried to stab it. They showed it off screen.
Oh yeah.
He tried to stab the dude. He tried to stab Tiger Nico, and Tiger Nico uses a corpse as a shield, and then the knife gets pulled out. But we don't.
I honestly thought Muteba was going to die in this encounter.
Hey man,
I honestly did. But he doesn't. He doesn't.
He comes out barely alive. But then you see when he tells Idemitsu, like basically, he said, "Don't go after him." Don't go. Don't send nobody else after him. He is dangerous. Tiger Nico. He tells Idemitsu, he said, "Don't." He said, "I'm not pursuing him." He said, "I was gonna try to pop him," and he shoots up this little pea shooter gun. I said, "You probably have pissed him off if you try to shoot him." Like,
I have a feeling that Nico would have just gone Yujiro Hanma and just like eaten the bullet and been like, "That's the best you can do."
Hey man, it was about to be ugly, and the fact that you told don't pursue him, he is dangerous. He was just walking with his hands in his pocket.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, like if you throw Muteba at him and Muteba can't do it, you're talking about a wildly dangerous individual, that's for sure. Yeah, Muteba's not a joke.
There's one thing that we forgot after Nico laid him out. Muteba actually had a gun that he was gonna use to shoot Nico if he got closer to him.
He pulled that pea shooter out. He put this little cricket gun. He was like, "I was gonna probably fill him with some lead." I said, "You probably would have pissed him off," and then you probably just pissed him off more, or he would.
So while all that's happening, we cut back into the ring, and Faye is now going to use a technique that I don't think I've seen, that I don't think any other character has used yet, right?
Oh, was it basic? Oh, was it the?
Because it's the amalgamation of the two Nico style techniques.
And Wakitsuki's egging him on to use advance, and he was like, "Advance."
He's like, "I'm gonna show you something way more dangerous than that."
Yo, and that was dangerous.
Yeah, Divine Demon.
It was dope. He had the look of advance, but it looked like divine. It looked like a fallen demon.
It basically combines the two. It gets the increased like torque and stuff from advanced, and it can also help him dodge with a fallen demon because time is moving differently for him.
It is kind of interesting too, because if I remember the panel right, when he first is revealed in Divine Demon like in that full look, he kind of looks like Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, doesn't he?
Sephiroth's hair was straight. Like his was just all straight. FaZe had. I would say Sephiroth's hair was more straight than FaZe. He had the ponytail. He had the ponytail thing hanging up too.
It was very much that like one winged angel looking thing. But he uses that divine demon, and you want to take it from there to the end of this fight, because I'm having trouble remembering it.
Hey man.
Yes. So, as that happens, as soon as Faye turns on Divine Demon, we get a little flashback where he's talking to Tiger Nico, and Tiger Nico tells him, "Hey, you can fight anybody on the Kengan side besides Oma, and then you can fight anybody you want besides Oma." And then he's basically like trying to prove that he's the strongest Nico style user living, and that nobody else can hold a candle to him, and that he's in a league of his own and everything. And so he eventually starts taking damage, and he's bleeding, and he starts using his blood as bullets. He's like throwing his own blood droplets with so much force that they're actually puncturing Wakatsuki's body.
That was dope.
He's eventually he's like, "Oh, this is really tiring me out," and then he briefly undoes Divine Demon, and then Wakatsuki immediately tries to counter once he realizes that he's turned it off. And then the fight keeps going, and then eventually Faye has to turn it back on again at max output to counter something that Wakatsuki does, and it just like a flood of blood erupts from his body because of it, and the fight ends in a draw.
And his heart exploded.
Yeah.
He was overused. It was over. I think Nico told him about it. He was like the after effects of it, him using it. I thought that's what he told him, like when they having the flashback. And basically his heart blew up.
Yeah, that's essentially exactly what happened.
Because the advance is already hard on somebody's heart, but combine that with Fallen Demon, and the effects of it are detrimental.
Like,
well, I mean, they've said before that, like, if I remember right, haven't they said before that Fallen Demon took a really heavy toll on Setsuna's sanity?
Yes. It's basically giving you brain damage as you use it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're mixing Fallen Demon and Possessing Spirit, which is the advance. So you're basically like hard on your brain and the rest of your body as well.
There's so much strain that you got to turn it off, but
it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. And I'm not going to lie.
How did it become a draw?
They both
they knocked each other out, and the strain from the Divine Demon caused Faye to collapse too. And as you find out afterwards, he's dying. And like Carlos is over there trying to console him as he's dying. And he's like, "I'm not into dudes, but bring me Oma."
Yep. And we get the
Oma
other kind of big
over
reveal
to him, and he's like, I can't see too well, but I just wanted to get a good look at your face." And then when he gets a good look at Oma's face, he starts freaking out and he gets really pissed. He's like, "Fuck you, Nico." He's like, because he realizes who Oma is a clone of right at that moment. He's like, "Fuck you, Nico, you played me." And then Faye dies.
Yep. And basically, no, he told him, he said, "Who's the real Tiger's vessel?" So he kind of revealed Oma is the actual true Tiger's vessel.
Which is another thing that honestly we've all suspected for a long time, but now it's been finally confirmed for us that yes, he is in fact the Tiger's vessel.
Oh, slight flashback. I'm looking at when Faye did the Fallen Demon, did the Divine Demon. He flashed back to Long Ming. Remember him from the Guardians?
Oh yeah,
and he got clapped.
Yeah,
he got clapped. Just to show how strong the form actually is.
Yeah, it was nuts. But I mean, honestly, this whole fight was insane.
Oh, and then we see sexy what would he start calling him?
K-pop Setsuna.
K-pop Setsuna pops up. He says, "You're the child of Oma."
Yeah, the child of me and Oma, because he's using both techniques.
Hey, he probably low-key got hard.
No, he actually found Faye disgusting. I remember that now. when he saw what he was doing, he actually found him disgusting.
Oh, I thought he was all turned on. Like it probably because he had
No.
I thought it was because of, he had a thing for Oma, and it was when he
But
Oma
he
would
got
do the
Ryuki
dance.
now, remember?
Oh,
Yeah, he's all about Ryuki.
oh yeah,
We'll
almost.
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
So
we'll get
now
there.
we learn so much. We have covered so much, but now y'all, we are going to be covering the next chapters. We finally get to the last. We're at the nitty gritty, y'all.
Yeah, we're down to the wire on
And
this.
we already know who's gonna. The
I
last
think
match
we
is the
should
one.
we should end it there because after that there's also the other big fight that happens like right after that. So I think we should save that for another session.
Behind the scenes fight.
Yeah.
Yo, Ab, you ain't shit. So before the fight, we was talking in the chat, and you know what I'm talking about. You was like, man, what if Oma one shots along? I said, Ever, get the hell on.
Yeah.
I said that would be. They've been hyping this man up. I was like, he better not disappoint. But
And then remember, I sent you the character description for Lelong that came out when the volume came out, and the actual draft was that Oma was originally going to one-shot Lelong during the fight.
hey, man,
That was the original plan.
How did I not see this?
which all, huh?
I never saw that.
It was probably a little
I'll
backstory.
find it in the chat and I'll resend
Okay.
it.
Yeah, because
I would be interested to see that. I must have missed it when you guys were talking about it, but I actually
must have missed it. I mean,
I would have been furious.
I'll say that, but I'm like, they've been gaslight. This man has been a force to be gonna be reckoned with. I like in the beginning when he talked shit to me, to Monkey, and then when Lu Don Chen was like, I wouldn't pay. I was like, I wouldn't even spar with him just for shits and giggles, just to show how strong he really is.
Yeah, it was like you couldn't pay me enough to fight him.
Like to spar with him. I like when he walks in the ring.
I found it. I found the thing for Lelong and highlighted it. It says, originally, I was thinking of a scenario where Oma would instantly beat Lelong, but then his appearance changed, and as he was the final fight, I decided to make it a long-haul battle. So yeah, originally, Oma was going to one-shot Lelong.
Well, this was actually something because I'm going back and reviewing now. Right after Faye dies, you see Tiger Nico turn around and is like, so my final test subject is dead. He's like, I have all the data that I need for the Nico style to evolve even further. So Nico's planning something. We just don't know what it is.
And it's probably going to be with Oma. Oh, but you see too, when Tiger Nico got revealed, did you see Kanoh when he gripped the bar?
Yeah, so hard that he bent it out of shape.
Yo!
Because him and Oma were both like, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Hey, man, why they showed Muteba slumped over, though,
Yeah,
after he fought?
I thought he was fucking dead.
Yo! But we get to the last fight, and the energy that Lelong is putting out, he was ready for all the smoke.
Oh, yeah.
He was ready for all the smoke. Like, when he walks out to the ring and he says, what is Lu Don Chen says something. He's like, that's why I'm bringing up the rear. And then Natoku looked at him, was like, this dude is strong. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no comparison to anybody that's coming up that everybody's fought so far. Lelong is the strongest.
Yeah.
He is the king of purgatory for a reason.
Yeah, he was like, the pressure I felt from him is like even greater than Agito's.
And that's saying so much.
And then right before this match starts, we'll end it here. Right before Oma is set to walk out to the ring, Kazuo comes to him and talks to him, and he's like, that guy on the monitor, that's Tiger Nico, right? That's the guy you've been telling me about. And he's like, aren't you going to go after him? And that's when Oma is like, no, he's trying to bait me and Kanoh.
Which he almost be like, they kind of knew.
He's trying to, and he's like, we'd be doing exactly what he wants us to do. He's like, no.
Yeah, so I'm going out there and I'm finishing this.
Yeah.
Because this is what we came here for. He's secondary. He's secondary on the list.
Yeah, and he was like, I mean, you see to Oma's like, he's still alive, and that's all I need to know for now. and he's gonna pay, is what he said. And then he starts to just walk towards the ring.
Have you been hyped for Oma to see him fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oma, we got Oma. So real quick, when we ended y'all, we had Oma Daniel 2.0 toward the end of Ashura when he woke up from the coma and had the flashback about learning the Nico style, and Oma was starting to use the Nico style as he was supposed to, as Nico wanted him to. Now we got a glimpse of it when he came back to use the advance and beat up those worm goons. Now we got Oma 3.0.
Yeah.
God.
You run in on his way to the ring. All of the other fighters, of course, are encouraging him, saying, "Hey, go out and win this one." Blah blah blah. And then he runs into Koga, and Koga's like, "Hey, you can't lose because I can't have you getting beat until I'm the one who beats you."
And Oma was just so calm. Oma's been so calm during this. We got a whole new Oma. Like his personality's changed.
Yeah,
his
personality changed like after he woke up from the coma because he went back to how he was when he was younger. He was still like that super calm dude even when he was a teenager.
And I feel like Nico really helped him with that. Since I like how Nico was coming back to talk to Oma to basically guide him on the right track and using the Nico style as he was supposed to. Use it as your own. It's yours now.
Yeah.
I like how he was guiding.
With like the last thing that Nico said to him before he died was "Don't kill anybody," and he actually took that to heart and he did it.
Yeah. And
because of that, Oma does not kill people.
Yeah,
he beats the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
And the last thing that we saw right before he says, well, I'm off. The last thing that he says to anybody is, "What's with all the well wishing? You guys make me feel like I'm going to my death."
Hey man.
And then Kazuo tells him like, "Hey, I'm not. Everything's already been said. Just go out there and
do your thing
and fight your best." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'm off." And he walks out to the ring, and that's where I think we should wrap it up.
Lalong gets up, and he's like, "It's finally time." And then
the panel for that, it was almost facing his face.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we've been waiting for, y'all.
It was set up almost like tail of the tape from UFC, where you see them both side by side, and this is the fight that dreams are made of. Yeah, this is the one that
this is going to count for everything that they didn't fight for.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't wait till we get to the background fights.
There is a lot. That is one thing. That is one thing is that there was a lot going on
outside
the ring that distracts from what's going on inside the ring in some ways.
Yep.
And so you get to that. We'll get to it next week, but there is a lot going on all at once.
And I can't wait for it. So next we will be covering another 20 chapters. We got a nice little amount to cover still. Hopefully we can try to meet again next Sunday. I'm trying to again for next Sunday. Mm-hmm. Everybody free for next Sunday again, same time. Or if you want to shoot earlier, we can.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll recap. Anybody need to recap? Take notes.
Yeah.
Tune in next time, y'all, for the Justin Anime Podcast next Sunday at 4. I'll actually be on time. Had set up, talking. I've been hyped, ready to record with the crew again. Look out for the One Piece manga podcast. Tim, you ready for that?
No.
Hey man, One Piece is gonna
it's so long.
One Piece is gonna be. I can't wait for the One Piece.
Oh my God,
when we and we'll have another co-host, the guy I work with, a guy named Eddie. I told him if you want to be on a podcast with us, and he was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "So we're gonna have 4 of us covering." I can't wait to read it I can read it again between you and Eddie's eyes because I can't wait to cover. Oh God.
I will say that I am one thing I'm excited for One Piece is One Piece has a specific little in the anime specifically. There is a moment in One Piece that is quite possibly one of my favorite moments in all of anime, across all of anime.
One Piece has so many moments.
One Piece has what is possibly one of my favorite moments.
One Piece has those feels, and I'm gonna be crying. I'm probably on stream, and I don't even care. But y'all, we gotta roll. Thanks for tuning in. Whoever tuned in, appreciate y'all. Go to the Justin Anime. I put in the chat Justin Anime Podcast on YouTube. Find me. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your buddies about the podcast, and we'll have more to come this year. Hopefully, I'll be making more content, and I hope y'all enjoyed. And peace until next Sunday, y'all.